again, it's Elisabeth here, one of the Graphic 45 brand ambassadors. Today I am showing you my happy place, which is my craft room. I haven't been in this particular space very long. It's the back wall of my old bedroom, but I thought you would like to see how I go about storing things. These are the trolleys that I commandeered from my old craft room. They work really well under the eaves, but now I'm using them in a slightly different way. I tend to keep things in sections, so I've got my art supplies, pens and pencils and inks down below, and then I've got some of my cottage life projects here. I like to keep the projects that I've made around me, and then I learn to live with them a little bit, and then I gift them or I send them to friends and family. They're quite used to it by now. But I've recently moved the tables again so that my workspace is by the window, and then here is where I have my computer, and that's my little filming area. So these are kallax style units. They're not Ikea units, but they're very similar. And I've learned over the years to store my most used items at the top in clear containers. So I am a neat freak. I know that's quite rare for a crafter, but I like my space to be organised. So these are drink can holders from the fridge. The kitchen items are really good for craft supplies. These are vegetable boxes. This is an egg box that holds my ink daubers. This used to be my daughter's hairdryer holder. So really I commandeer anything that's going spare within the house. And then I've got another one of my trolleys here where I store my cards and envelopes so they're close by to me. And then this is a toilet roll holder for my tapes, and then I store my larger one on coat pegs. So this is my working space, so I like to have my most used items close by to me. My magnifying light, and then I work along here when I'm filming. So then if you come back to the units, you can see more of where my inks are kept and my re-inkers. And then within here I've got my Graphic 45 inks. I've enjoyed using them. I made myself a little swatch so that I could see how they work to begin with, but you can blend with them and you can stamp with them, so they're very versatile inks. So that's the first set that I have there. And then I keep my stamp pads alongside it. I've got my everyday tools. I store things vertically where I can. So this is a like a toast rack, an acrylic toast rack, and that's really good for storing cutters and stamping platforms. So I store my embossing powders in a makeup box, and then because the box for the embossing powders was clear, I then used it to hold my USB so I can see everything at a glance. I keep my 12 by 12 colour papers here, and then some of my favourite 12 by 12 papers. And then I store my larger MDF items in these style boxes so that I've always got things to hand. And then when you come up to the top here, this is one of my dad's old storage units that he made. And again, I've commandeered it because it's great for my A4 paper and for displaying my projects and cards. And then right at the top, I use sweetie jars to hold my embellishments such as ribbons and buttons and pegs and things like this. But my favourite area, of course, has to be over here. And this is where I keep my treasured Graphic 45 projects. In the frame at the top, I swap around the 12 by 12 papers because I like to use them for inspiration. So then if I'm going to be working on a collection, I tend to have that paper in my frame so that every time I walk into the room, I can be thinking about the projects that I want to make. Here are some of the tuxedo cards that I made, and you could see those videos on the Graphic 45 YouTube channel. Some of you might have seen this box over here, and in there is the symbol that I actually made it for, which was one of my mum's, because she would have loved the style of this project. And then I store my sequins in colours. I'm very visual, so I like things in colours. This is a nail polish holder, and it's great for stickles and your Nouveau drops. This is another project that I made, the easel card, which again you can see on the Graphic 45 channel. And then here is where I keep my larger 12 by 12 papers, and this is how I store my current 12 by 12 Graphic 45 papers. The red depict the Christmas collections, but I'll show you these a little bit more clearly in a moment. So I used to use these at school and in my previous office life, and then I use a Dymo label maker so that I can clearly see the paper pad. So I'll show you how these sliding binders help keep your papers neat. When I have got my scraps of paper, I put those into these style of wallets, and then I treat them as I would the ephemera. So I've got my ephemera pieces, and I've also got my journaling cards, and again they're stored alphabetically. I've got my 8 by 8 papers in another box here alphabetically. That's just how my mind works. And then here I keep my beloved stamps and cutting dies. I like to store the stickers and the chipboard next to the 12 by 12 papers because I quite often mix and match those. I've got some of the albums that I'm going to be working on. So this is just a unit that I picked up from somewhere like The Works. It's a simple storage tower. Again, it's clear so I can see what's inside. And then I've got my flowers and my ribbons, my tags and my washi tape. And then this is just another unit that my dad made. So nothing's really new in my room. It's just how I like to use the space. I'm not precious about having everything brand new, but I do like to keep it neat and tidy. I do tend to clear down my desk every day and then I begin again. But these are the clear plastic document holders that I use. They're great because you can add a label to them. They've got a slight curve here, and it means that you can hold your 12 by 12 papers together. The length of them is A4, so they're slightly shorter than your 12 by 12 papers, but that doesn't bother me. And then you can slide them on, easily holds one of the pads and one of the paper patterns. And then when you have the larger offcuts, you can still hold them securely in place. I hope you enjoyed looking at my happy place. If you've got any questions about the way I store things, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, happy crafting.